All right, in this video, I'm going to explain the Florida Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act, one of the most powerful consumer protection laws in the state and a tool that can level the playing field when someone plays dirty in the marketplace. I'm Santiago Cueto, board-certified international business law expert and best-selling author. And over my years of practicing law, I've seen this statute work absolute miracles for clients who thought they had no recourse. So let's dive into what makes this law so special and, more importantly, how it might help you. Now, the Florida Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act, which everyone just calls FDUTPA, is codified in Florida Statute 501. Now, I know statute numbers aren't exactly thrilling, but stay with me because what this law does is actually fascinating. FDUTPA was designed to protect both consumers and businesses from unfair methods of competition and deceptive trade practices. Think of it as Florida's way of saying, we're not going to tolerate marketplace manipulation, whether you're ripping off individual consumers or sabotaging your competitors. Now, what makes FDUTPA particularly interesting is that it casts a very wide net. Unlike many consumer protection laws that only protect individual buyers, FDUTPA protects businesses too. That means if your competitor is engaging in deceptive practices that harm your business, you can use this statute to fight back. Now, FDUTPA operates on two main pillars: unfair practices and deceptive practices. These aren't just interchangeable terms, they're actually distinct legal concepts, and understanding the difference is crucial. So let's start with deceptive practices, because they're usually easier to spot. A practice is deceptive when it has the capacity or tendency to mislead consumers. Notice how I said capacity to mislead. You don't actually have to prove that someone was fooled. You just need to show that a reasonable consumer could be misled. Now, here's a real-world example. Now, imagine a furniture store advertising genuine leather couches when they're actually made of vinyl. That's textbook deception. Or consider a contractor who promises your roof will last 30 years when they're actually using materials that typically last just 10 years. That's deceptive because it has the capacity to mislead you into making a purchase based on false information. But here's where it gets interesting. Unfair practices are a different beast entirely. A practice can be unfair even if it's not deceptive at all. The standard for unfairness asks 3 questions. Does the practice offend public policy? Is it immoral, unethical, oppressive, or unscrupulous? And does it cause substantial injury to consumers? Let me give you an example that illustrates the difference. Let's say a company starts buying up all the inventory of a critical medical supply during a crisis. Not to use it, but just to create artificial scarcity and drive up prices. They're not lying about what the product is, so it's not necessarily deceptive, but the practice is absolutely unfair. It's oppressive and causes substantial consumer harm. Now, if you're finding this information valuable and you want to stay informed about your legal rights in Florida, do me a favor and hit that like button right now and subscribe to the channel because we're going to keep breaking down complex legal topics in a way that actually makes sense. Trust me, understanding these laws can save you thousands of dollars or help protect your business. All right, let's keep going. One of the most powerful aspects of FDUTPA is who can actually use it. The statute creates 2 categories of plaintiffs: consumers and those engaged in trade or commerce who are injured by another's violation. So for consumers, the definition is pretty straightforward. If you purchase goods or services primarily for personal, family, or household purposes, and you are harmed by an unfair or deceptive practice, you've got standing to sue. It's that simple. But here's the part that surprises most people. Businesses can sue under FDUTPA too. If you're a competitor who's been harmed by another business's unfair or deceptive practices, you also can bring a claim. This is huge because it means FDUTPA isn't just about protecting the little guy buying a used car. It's also about maintaining fair competition in the marketplace. I once represented a client whose competitor was spreading false rumors about their businesses, claiming they were about to go bankrupt. Those lies were costing my clients contracts. Now, under FDUTPA, we were able to hold the competitor accountable. That's the kind of protection the statute provides. Let me paint a picture for how FDUTPA works in the real world, because this is where the rubber meets the road. Imagine you hire a contractor to remodel your kitchen. They give you a quote, you sign a contract, and you pay a deposit. Then the contractor starts the work but uses materials that are clearly inferior to what was specified in the contract. When you confront them, they give you the runaround, make excuses, and eventually just stop showing up. Your kitchen is half demolished, You're out of thousands of dollars and you can't afford to hire someone else to finish the job. Well, under FDUTPA, you don't just have a breach of contract claim, you potentially have a statutory claim that comes with serious teeth, because the contractor's bait and switch with the materials could constitute a deceptive practice, and their abandonment of the project can be considered unfair. Or consider this scenario. You're a small retail business and you discover that your main competitor has been creating fake negative reviews about your store online while simultaneously posting fake positive reviews about their own store. Now, they're not directly lying about their products, but they're manipulating the marketplace in a way that's clearly unfair. FDUTPA gives you a path to fight back. Now, here's why FDUTPA is such a powerful tool: the remedies. When you win a FDUTPA claim, you're not just getting your money back. The state authorizes actual damages, meaning actual compensation for your losses. But it also allows for attorney's fees, which is absolutely critical because it means you can often find a lawyer willing to take your case even if the damages aren't enormous. In some cases, courts can also award declaratory and injunctive relief. That means a judge can order the bad actor to stop their unfair or deceptive practices. And in egregious cases, courts have even awarded punitive damages, although that's more rare. Now, the attorney's fees provision is really the secret weapon here. Many consumer protection cases involve damages that, while meaningful to the individual, might not justify the cost of litigation. But because the prevailing party can recover attorney's fees under FDUTPA, it shifts the calculus. Suddenly, it makes economic sense to pursue justice, and bad actors can't just count on victims being unable to afford lawyers. Now, I want to be straight with you. FDUTPA isn't unlimited in scope. There are some important things it doesn't cover. First, there is a business transaction requirement. The unfair or deceptive practice must occur in a business transaction. So if your neighbor lies to you about something in a purely personal context, that's not going to fall under FDUTPA. And second, certain industries and transactions are specifically exempted. For example, insurance companies are primarily regulated under Florida's insurance code, so FDUTPA claims against insurers are generally not going to be allowed. Banks and financial institutions also have certain exemptions. And professionals like doctors, lawyers, and accountants are typically not subject to FDUTPA when they're providing professional services, though they could be for other business practices. Third, you need to show that you actually suffered damages. FDUTPA isn't designed to police every minor irritation or technical violation. You need to demonstrate actual harm. So here's the bottom line. The Florida Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act is one of the most powerful tools available to protect both consumers and businesses from marketplace misconduct. Whether you're dealing with a deceptive salesperson, a contractor who's cutting corners, or a competitor who's playing dirty, FDUTPA just might give you the legal leverage that you need. Now, the key is understanding what constitutes unfair versus deceptive practices, knowing whether you have standing to bring a claim, and recognizing that the remedies, especially attorney's fees, make this statute uniquely powerful. Now, if you think you might have a FDUTPA claim, my advice to you is to document everything, gather all your evidence, and consult with an attorney who understands this area of law. Time limits do apply, so don't wait too long. Now, if this video helped you understand your rights under Florida law, I'd really appreciate if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. We're here to break down complex legal topics that empower you to protect yourself and your business. I'm Santiago Cueto, your Florida business attorney. Be sure to watch this next video for more business law insights.